I am going to be talking about a analysis of the Hansel and Gretel witch hunters, and the yeah, that and a story, the same story written by a some Sir J man, a gay man. So yeah, I'm gonna start talking about some similarities in the story. To start off, they are actually both the same story. So to say, they're both about Hansel and Gretel. But the Witch Hunter one, you actually get like you get another story on top of the original story. Because first of all, you get the normal Hansel and Gretel. They go to the woods. They find a witch, or they are led to the woods and left in the woods by their parents. And then they find a witch's house, and it's made of candy. And they start eating the candy, and the door opens, and they go in, and there's a witch. So yeah, in the movie, the witches are also a lot more creepy, and there are a lot more witches than just one. Um, so yeah, there are also a lot more action in the movie. Hansel and Gretel are all of a sudden witch hunters, um, which is I guess a new angle on the whole Hansel and Gretel, that the fact that they get to kill one witch makes them more or less cursed by having to kill other witches. Um, so um, yeah. The story is actually we return to the cabin in the woods, so to say, in the end of the Hansel and Gretel witch hunters. We do that, I think, kind of to end off the story, because we get to know that Hansel and Gretel's mother was a witch, so they're half witches, I guess. Half witches? Something like that. And that's not something we're told in the original story. We wasn't told that they are actually led to the forest and left in the forest because they will be killed if they are not left in the forest, which is kind of, I guess, a double morale, because they're left in the forest. It looks like they're going to die, but they're actually left in the woods to survive. Yeah. Let's see what else I got. Also, in the movie, we see a troll. We actually get to know something about trolls, which we don't in the original. Neither in Gay Man's. So, yeah. An analysis of the movie. How I feel like the actors performed, and if they make the story seem true. Well, I think that's kind of hard to say, since I don't know what makes a actor a good actor or a believable actor. I more or less look at what's happening in the movie, and if the scenarios we are led through are believable. Do I believe the actors are doing a good job? Yes, I do. I do believe they're doing a good job. They make a good job of making it look realistic. For example, when Hansel needs his injection to survive every couple of hours, that actually looks realistic, and I actually think that would be realistic that he has to do that. Gretel seems, instead of in the story where she seems kind of helpless, she seems more like the overdog. She seems like the alpha dog in the company, because she's the one kind of doing more or less all the work, and her brother is just more or less following in her footsteps. And yeah, let's see. How is the movie structured? The plot, the story, and the action, and the level of suspense. I don't know how much suspense there is. You can actually more or less figure most of it out without the story telling you. I don't know if that's just because, I don't know. I felt like you could actually realize most of the stuff happening quite early, and you actually knew more or less what was gonna happen. So yeah, for any of you who haven't seen it, as I told in the start, spoiler alert, Hansel and Gretel being half witches was kind of obvious at some point, and the white witch that we get to meet, which falls in love with Hansel, and Hansel falls in love with her. It's kind of obvious that she's a witch at some point, because just when you watch the movies, there are some obvious points that she's a witch. So yeah, how's the movie structured? Well, as I said, you start off with the original Hansel and Gretel story, where you are told about they're left in the woods, and they have to survive in the woods, and they find this cabin, and they're taken prisoner by the witch, she is shoved into the fire, and all that, and then you get a whole nother story, where you're told that they're hunters, and they go kill witches, and how they do it, and they have fans, and they get paid, and all that, and apparently, Hansel has, sugar sickness, as they call it in the movie, which is more or less just diabetes. So he has to take insulin or whatever it's called, his medicine to survive. So yeah, that's from eating all the candy, and all the candy he was fed at the witch's house. So how's the story told? Which cinematic effects? Blah, and used. Okay. Well, the story is told from I would actually say it's told from Hansel and Gretel's perspective, with a little bit of the third person all-knowing, because you get to know a lot of things before they do, and you get to know a lot of things that they probably would never find out before the end. So yeah, you are more of a almost all-knowing, compared to in a novel where you would be the all-knowing, because in a movie you can't be all-knowing, because you cannot hear people's thoughts. For example, you cannot hear the evil witch's thoughts or something like that. You can only hear what she's saying, which in a book you would more or less all the time be able to. Some of the cinematic effects, there are a lot of shaking, so to say, because of some of the scenes where, for example, the witches are fleeing, how they're fleeing fast, and it has to look sick how they're flying through the woods and all that, and when they get cut to pieces, we see all the bits and pieces flying towards us. And for example, when that boy, whom I apparently forgot whose name was, shoots a kind of a rifle, and we follow the bullet, sees how it actually flies out. That is a lot of cinematic effects used there. The costumes are actually amazing when it comes to the witches. There are some amazing special effects. I'm actually amazed. But one thing we actually should know is the first witch they meet are a lot more ugly and a lot more detailed than some of the other witches, which could mean, just a little food for the thoughts, that they are actually, we're seeing the witch from their perspective. She is more hideous, she's more demon-like than the others, because they were children and they probably see it another way. So yeah, there's a lot more disgusting about her than the other witches. She's more of a wraith, will I say. If you don't know what a wraith is, Google it. Just look it up and find out what it is, because it is horrible looking. So yeah, sound and music. I actually didn't really notice the sound and music that much. So I can't really comment that much about it. So yeah, I remember in the one of the last scenes where they are fighting all the witches, there was some epic music, and the end there was some even more epic music, but more I didn't really notice. So yeah. So what's my opinion? I actually have to make this fast. Okay, what did you like and what didn't you like? Explain why. Okay, I did not like the fact that I did not like that they killed off the White Witch, because I thought that the White Witch and Hansel being together would be a romantic plot, and that would be amazing compared to the fact that he says he hates witches and there are no good witches. The only good witch is a dead witch. So yeah, that's something I don't really like about it. Something I do like about the story is that it's a whole new way to seeing Hansel and Gretel. it's amazing how much you can do with just special effects and a little bit of fantasy. So yeah, and how many stars out of 6, where 6 is the best, would I rate this movie? I would rate it 4 out of 6 bloody witches, because good actors and some good action going on, and you're not feeling like you're getting left behind. Like there's something you need to think more about to understand. You're actually more or less being held hand and led through the whole movie. I like that, and you're not forced to like take it all in bits and pieces. And yeah, it's an easy movie to follow, and it's still exciting and amazing. So yep, Panda signing off. That is all for now. Um, give me some feedback and tell me what I could have done better. Have fun. Bye.